Savannah. I brought you a sandwich. Thanks. But before you can have it, you have to tell me how pretty and perfect I am. Tiffany flipped her hair and twirled around. We were only kids, and now that I look back, I wonder how they learned to be so cruel at such a young age. Get a life, Tiffany! She threw the sandwich on the ground and stepped on it. I rolled my eyes and walked away. Everyone at school knew how poor I was, and I was sick of it. They saw me sitting alone at lunchtime eating nothing. And while some people felt sorry for me, there were morons like Tiffany who just used my poverty to feel better about herself. So next week, my family and I are going on a cruise. Wow, awesome! That's something Savannah will never experience, right? Yeah, right! I hated being poor. But later on, I'd become really rich. And I hated that too. Make sure you keep watching to find out how. My parents weren't always poor. My dad came from a rich family, actually. But when he was about 20 years old, he got into a fight with my grandpa. He left and swore he'd never go back to his parents' house again. So I've never met my grandparents. Can you believe that? Then one afternoon after school, I got home and everyone was smiling. What's going on? Did someone win the lottery? No, Savannah, but close. What do you mean? Your grandpa died! How is that good? He left your dad $1 million! Wow!
Yes, but actually I'm a bit upset because he could have left me more. It's because I'm his least favorite child.
Instead of blowing it all at once, my dad contacted an investor friend, and after a few years, that million had grown into $1 billion. I don't really understand how they did it because I'm still not good with numbers and stuff like that. We went from rags to filthy rich, and it happened just in time though because I was in the middle of my first year at high school and I was having a horrible time. We're going to move to Washington, D.C. Why?
I just always wanted to live there.
And we were off. There we upgraded to a very comfortable mansion in a super wealthy neighborhood. Then my parents decided that I had to go to the best school possible. They went searching for a few days and came home with exciting news one night.
You're going to go to school with the president's daughters.
What?
Yes, the tuition fees are ridiculous, but we're filthy rich now, so it doesn't matter. Can you imagine the PTA meetings with the president? I'm so excited.
Calm down, Dad. So, as you can tell by now, my life changed drastically. I went from being the poor kid with no food to the one who socialized with some of the richest, most important people in the country. And this felt great for a long time. Most of the people at my school were really nice to me. It was kinda odd because I was so accustomed to annoying high schoolers being super mean to each other. But here, that wasn't the case. I quickly made two best friends. Adola was from Nigeria, and her dad owned a massive oil production company. Then there was Benita, who is from India. Her parents were both engineers. We'd hang out after school almost every day, and whenever they'd talk about their childhoods, I couldn't help but feel a bit envious since I was poor and didn't get to have much fun. I never let them know this, though. They thought I always lived in a mansion in Washington and that my parents had always been super rich, just like theirs. Just as I was settling down into my new, perfect life, my dad started acting really strange. One night when we were having dinner, he broke some interesting news to us.
So, I bought a zoo.
You did what?
Well, it's more like an animal sanctuary. It's 3 states away, though, so I'm having the animals moved over here.
Where are you going to put them?
I already started building the facility. I can take you to see it. The drive will only take 1 or 2 hours.
Dad, why did you do this?
I don't know. I've just always wanted to help animals, and now I have enough money to do it, so why not?
After a few months, the sanctuary was all set up and we went to visit. There were tons of animals there, and my dad looked super excited.
Guess what, Savannah?
What?
You're going to be working here every vacation.
But why? I don't even like animals. And I was planning on going to camp with my friends.
I'm sorry, honey, but I'm not going to have you growing up like those spoiled brats. You're going to have to learn what hard work is so that you never take our riches for granted.
And so I spent my entire summer picking up zebra and lion poop. It was awful. But when September came, I was excited because I wouldn't have to do that for a while. Unfortunately, my dad had another ridiculous dinner announcement.
I bought them all.
The one downtown?
Yes, it's mine.
But why?
Well, while we were poor, we never imagined being able to buy anything from a mall. Didn't that suck? Well, now we own it.
So I can just take whatever I want from any store?
No, that's not how it works. You'll be working at the ice cream store there after school, though.
Dad! No! Why?
I told you you'd have to learn how to work hard. I'm not raising a spoiled child. You've got to learn what it means to work hard.
I was so annoyed at my new job the next week. The owner of the ice cream shop was really nice, but I kept messing up on purpose so I could get fired. I never put the ice cream on the cones correctly, so half the time they fell off when I gave them to the customers. That means I wasted a lot of ice cream. Then another time, I left the freezer open and everything melted. But the owner refused to fire me. I wanted to cry. This was already ridiculous enough, but do you want to know the next weird thing my dad told us at dinner?
I'm getting plastic surgery.
So am I. We are going to look so young and hot again. What? No! Mom! Dad! You look perfect the way you are. You don't need to change yourselves. Wait till you start getting wrinkles. Then you'll understand. And in a flash, my parents transformed before my eyes. They went from okay-looking people in their late 40s to super good-looking 20-year-olds. To be honest, although I was skeptical about this, they actually looked pretty good. But nothing could prepare me for what was about to happen next. I noticed that my mom and dad were both acting pretty strange the next few months. My mom always went outside to answer her phone, and she came back inside blushing. My dad disappeared for hours sometimes, and he'd come back smelling like sweet perfume. I assumed he was probably at his mall trying different perfumes at the perfume store. Then, after a while, my parents hardly spoke to each other, and I couldn't understand why. Then, one random Tuesday at school, it all made sense. A boy 2 grades below me came to sit with me, Adiola, and Benita at lunchtime, and stared at me like he was upset. Firstly, who are you? And secondly, what are you mad about? He took out his cell phone and showed me a picture of my dad, holding another woman around her waist, looking totally mesmerized.
Is this your dad?
Yes. Who is that woman in the picture?
That's my mom. I wanted to ask you to ask him to please leave her alone. I'm not ready for a stepfather. It's only been 3 years since my dad passed.
What do you mean leave her alone? What have they been up to?
You didn't know?
Of course I didn't. I have no idea what's going on. Are they having an affair?
Affair? They seem to be in a relationship. Your dad is always at my house.
I was furious. I asked him to send me the picture, and as soon as I got home, I confronted my dad. Who is this woman, and what were you doing?
Oh, Sheila? That's my girlfriend.
Does Mom know about this? How could you? You ridiculous man! You son of Savannah! How dare you talk to your father like that? Mom! He's cheating!
Okay, sit down, honey. We weren't sure how to say this to you, but the truth is that we've both been cheating on each other for a while now.
Why? Well, after our surgery, we just felt like new people again. I wanted to see if I could still get asked out. And your dad? Well, I think he's going through a midlife crisis. Either way, I've been casually dating lots of hot guys, and your dad has been dating Sheila. So what's the point of living together if you're not going to be faithful? Well, we were considering a divorce, but we decided to stay together for you. While taking deep breaths to control my anger and frustration, I explained to my parents that I did not need them to stay together for me. Our talk lasted a few hours, and at the end, they reached a resolution. They were going to get a divorce. Mom and I stayed in the Washington mansion so I could finish school, and my dad bought a penthouse somewhere. For a while, it was difficult to deal with. And if you've ever dealt with divorced parents, you know what I mean. But something cheered me up a bit, and that was an invitation from 2 of the most popular girls, Tamara and Shayla. They found me in the library while I was studying for a test and asked me to meet them the next day at 6. Now, don't get me wrong, I was fine with my ordinary friends, but because of what I'd been through in the past, it really made me feel special that some of the most popular people saw me as someone. The next day, I waited for them in the same spot in the library. Hey, so you might find this a bit weird, but we're actually part of a club and we have meetings once a week. We have a meeting tonight and we'd like you to join. Okay. Where is it? At Trent's house. His parents are never home. Trent was like the king of the school. Every girl wanted him and every guy wanted to be like him. And now I was invited to his house? That was crazy! So I followed Tamara and Shayla, and when we got to Trent's house, about 10 people were already sitting in the living room.
Have a seat, Savannah,
said Trent. I sat down and listened to them having their meeting. It was one of the weirdest things I've ever experienced. It was like some kind of popularity convention where they spoke about how to keep being popular and what new trends they'd like to start. So, Savannah, Tamara said at the end, do you want to join us? Sure. This seems great.
You'll rise to popularity really quick, but there is a catch.
What's that?
To join this club, you're going to have to go through some kind of initiation.
What do I have to do?
You have to record yourself doing something really embarrassing. Then the recording has to be played here in front of everyone.
Okay. Do I decide what the embarrassing thing should be?
No, we'll let you know on the day.
I went home really excited, and it was all I could think about until the day came. Shayla walked up to me and gave me a brown paper bag filled with something that smelled awful. What's that? Cow dung! Where did you even get that? And what do you want me to do with it? Smear it all over the walls in the hallway. Don't forget to record. I figured that was easy enough, and I waited for everyone to leave at the end of the day before I got started. Put on gloves, set up the camera on my phone, and smeared the dung all over the walls. When I was done, I took off the gloves, washed my hands, and made sure the recording was saved. Later that night, I got a message from Tamara asking me to send her the video. I didn't think twice about sending it to her. I thought that she'd want to see it before it was played at the meeting. But this was the biggest, stupidest mistake I'd ever made. Because the next day at school, everyone looked at me like I was insane. And then I was called into the principal's office.
Savannah, we were very happy to let you into our school, but this recent behavior has us asking questions.
What are you talking about, sir? He took out his phone and played the video of me smearing dung all over the walls.
I'm sorry, but this is not something we can tolerate at this school. Who is going to clean all of this? The school smells disgusting. I will call your mother and inform her that you are hereby expelled.
No! Shayla and Tamara made me do it! It's not my fault! I tried to persuade him to let me stay, but he wouldn't listen at all. My mom was nearly in tears when she heard what I had done. Later, I found out that Tamara and Shayla were jealous of me, and they made up everything just to get me to ruin my reputation. Even if I had stayed at that school, everyone would have regarded me as that crazy cow dung girl, and it would have been back to square one, being an unpopular loner again. I'm frustrated because none of this would have happened if my parents hadn't become billionaires. Our family fell apart, and now my perfect life at school was ruined too. Maybe riches aren't all that after all. After all.